you have any questions about how he does his amazing music? Quickly. Very quickly. Yes.
So one, I feel so inspired and like the courage it must take to like have these beautifully vulnerable stories on stage. So thank you for having the courage to do so. And I guess my question is just around the process of like how do you make that connective story stuff happen?
Okay, so who would like to answer? And then I'll say something. Anybody feel? Okay,
I'll start.
Go.
We usually start with a warm-up like you saw here, and we do a guided meditation to get us in the space of where we're coming from with our stories. And usually Sophia or Phil will bring us there and either have us write or draw or do some type of, I'm going to say artistic piece. And then we process it with each other, and then we process it as a group. And then we can take it to another level where we do what we call a psychodrama around that, where we act it out. Like we pick one or two people as a group collectively who wants to share the most, and then we'll work on that piece for like a couple hours. Yeah.
Anybody else want to say how you came to your piece? Jessica?
And we also build around, as you saw, music and artwork and power pieces that represent who we are and support us in our journey and creatively express. So not just movement but connecting our voices and then connecting our lives and bringing that all together.
Tell her about what you're wearing and how you did that.
So I'm wearing a mandala, and I had earrings as well that go with that. And a power piece as well, a ceramic piece. And we actually had a workshop where we created these pieces all together in this room. Right where you're sitting is where we created all of our pieces. And they represented our strengths. And we did meditation and thought about those different strengths. And then
And your
processed
wisdom
bringing
self,
those together with the essential self, your wisdom self, your higher self, or whatever represents your best self to you. And so it was a wonderful way to really get in and work with Fimo and clay and actually bake it right in this room with a light bulb. That's what this piece was.
And that was Iris's genius, how to do it without a stove, was using a light bulb, and it worked.
We didn't want to leave. Mine is hanging in the car right now.
Hanging in the way?
My car, it's guiding my path down the road. I also wanted to add to the creative process that we also are taking a look at our challenges to ourselves, of course, and trying to work deeply and with the support of the facilitators and support of our peers, and also drawing upon what we know inside that we're trying to uncover. We meander our way down into the forest and through the woods.
Right. Good. Other questions or comments?
And a very courageous endeavor on all your parts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very courageous. It's so inspiring that everybody came up with a story that was so unique and creative, and very touching. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you didn't know, Iris was the one who helped us with our mandala. She's got one on now.
I do.
Yes, that everyone wore them. Some people have used them in other ways. Yeah.
So how does it feel now that you've finished and released?
Relieving.
Well, I would have to say that mine was kind of work to the last minute. I mean, mine was like 20 minutes long when we first started out. And Dan, of course, Joyce worked with us the other day, and Dan taught us saying blah, 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 but he also taught us to go da-da-da-da, and so I had a problem because I had and infinitesimal. So anyway, we need to thank you and Phil and Chris and as well.
Oh, how about that music? Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
program, has a registered drama therapy credential, but came in as a musician and has done the most amazing integration of all that, as well as actually working with sound healing, which is a whole field in itself, different from music therapy, which is a lot more structured. Sound healing that really grew out of Sarah Benson's work, and she worked with us for 20 years. She's now deceased, but Chris also worked with her, but she didn't like all these structures. She thought it should be more intuitive and more dealing in the moment. She cured her own cancer with sound, and Sloan Kettering doctors, you can imagine the look on their faces. She actually shrunk her own tumor and things like that. So she was amazing, and we just bring her into this because it's all part of the gestalt of how we work. Yes.
I wanted to share my observation, those of you that worked with Dan and me on Tuesday. Different people today than I met on Tuesday. Wow. So whatever transpired between then and now, this is a transformational process, and I can vouchsafe that these are not the same people I met Tuesday.
Thank you. And Jamie also went through this program, and she adds a lot of energy healing to her work. Whoever comes here brings who they are and integrates it. And our particular approach is a transpersonal one, which just means the bigger picture, seeing people as whole and healthy first, not pathologized. That's the basic tenet, and then helping them shift their identities from a limited sense of self, conditioned sense, abused sense, traumatized sense, to what we call one's essential self, that is not, can never be tarnished by trauma or life experience. So we try and tap into that in very concrete ways. So that's the kind of orientation. And it allows people, I think, over the years I've seen, to be just much more open and vulnerable, because we're kind of all in it together, and we know that this is part of life experience, is, to go through these terrible things sometimes. But if we can use that experience to help other people in their healing and creative processes, then you feel like there's some purpose to it, which helps in our own healing process. Yes, so other questions or comments about any of it? So Roxanne, you haven't been here for a while. How was it for you?
It was great, and I guess I do have a question, trying to word it perfectly, which is gonna happen.
Don't be
so
perfect.
So my question is, does it feel like the end? Does it really feel like the end of the process?
No. Yeah, Sarah's shaking her head back there. No.
Yeah.
I mean, when you go through an experience like this, as you know, it connects you on a deeper level. And some of us have been working together in other workshops over the last 2 or 3 years, so we know each other's stories intimately, and I'm sure we will connect again. Yeah, I keep adding those
definitely a
layers.
process.
Yeah.
So I want to connect here with Jackie Newman, who went through this process and went through many weeks, many months, years, before drama therapy even started, when we were just doing transformational theater processes as theater, before drama therapy was a field. What do you have to share with us? Seeing this.
This space is my home, so it feels great to be here tonight. I am just always incredibly moved. Every time I'm here, watching whomever is up there, tonight it's you all, and it just brings me back to my own experiences of being up there a bazillion times, and the power that there is in being with facilitators, trainers like Safira, Jamie, Phil, Dan, who are really safe. There is a safety in this room of which I've never experienced really anywhere else. And it's incredibly sacred. So I was at another workshop all day today, so being able to come here, get out of there soon enough to come here is just really 24 hours of bringing myself home in every single story. So thank you.
Well, thank you
And
for
this is
making
so
the effort.
just the beginning. Somebody said, is this the end? No, for sure, it is not.
Great.
I was thinking, piggybacking on that, because Jackie and I I've been involved with this community with Safira for 35 plus years.
She's aging me.
No, I'm aging myself. Nobody gets older, just me. And this process, we're still doing it. It's not an end. It's a journey, and it's the journey that's the power. And who knows where it's going to end, what it's going to look like? Who cares? It's the journey. And Jackie and I have not been involved in the training as participants for many years, but I know we talk frequently, and we're still on the path. We're still journeying.
Can I speak as a brand
Yes.
new person?
Yes.
So this is day 3 of me doing trauma therapy. And I guess it's day 3, right?
Yeah,
Totally.
Woo! But I feel like something changed in 3 days. Just to speak to I just was thinking about finishing this performance, and that I was an actress and a performer for many years, and I took a break and I studied counseling, and realized my heart was with acting. I had to come back and do this, and I feel now just in my body more calm than I felt after any performance ever. I feel like it was always, and we've talked so much this week, in 3 days I kept being I need to do this for myself and nobody else. Mm-hmm. And so often when I was doing acting, it was, do you like me? Am I good? Give me feedback. I need to know that what I'm doing is good. And it's a tiny step to wanting that in my entire life, but I really felt, I was so nervous to be vulnerable, but I wasn't nervous about anybody else's response to what I did, because it was I want to be witnessed and seen, but I don't need approval. And that is, I think, huge. So,
I'd like to say that people's acting background, it's completely different for everybody. People come into this process never having been on a stage before, and it doesn't matter. Because when people speak their truths and find out how to do that, anybody can do that, So I want to say that everybody's at different levels, but they all influence each other, and so even people that have never done anything. And Derek Kiyoshi came in, registered the day before. I thought it was spam because it was from Japan.